What's up, guys? It's Chris Mitchell with CMG Guitars and Devilcat Amplifiers. We are here in Georgia for the RNA edition of the Georgia Factory Tour. I got Ryan back there on the camera filming, and I'm going to walk you guys through our factory. Right now you're looking at our stack of wood. This will last us a while. This is the new alder that we just got in for our new model that we're about to release for Summer NAMM.
Super secret.
Oh, it's super secret. It's a beautiful model though. Of course, you can see some of our sapele there and some of my favorite wood for our ash. This is the red grandis. This right here, the rough wood, that's actually swamp ash. We've got some varying degrees of anything from walnut over there to spare grandis to spare African. And then of course our over there in the slats, of course, is our plywood for the Devilcat amp body. So what we're getting ready to do is we're going to do a factory tour and show you how we do it, and I hope you enjoy. This is our most recent way that our method of production that we do. So I think the last video I uploaded was years ago. We don't even use the same methods anymore. We've really improved our method and refined a lot of what we do. So I hope you'll enjoy this. African, you see what we get it in? It doesn't even match. You get random strips.
Right.
You can't make a body out of that.
Right.
You can't even make a neck out of that. This is how we get the red grandis. Look how evenly it is, how sized it is perfect. Everything's sized perfect. So we like red grandis because it's sustainable. It's a lighter wood than African, but it's not too light. It's sustainable. It machines extremely well. So when we put on the CNC machine, the red grandis cuts really, really well. My next actually will be made out of red grandis because it was a wood that we discovered a few years ago. And when African started getting more and more expensive, I started really looking for substitutes that are tone woods that I really, really like. And red grandis was like, whoa! And we get it in a wonderful, we get it sized and cut perfectly. So when we get it in the strips, it's still got the sawmill blades on it, but they get it in even size. So we know we can get the quality and thickness very consistent, which we kind of stopped getting in African, and we stopped. Sapele is still a good wood for that, but it's heavy and dense. So if you like something on the heavy, chunky side, that's our sapele. If you want something with some nice weight relief, that would be our red grandis.
I'm on the heavy, chunky side.
I know you are. All right, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll go through and sometimes we'll cherry pick some of our tops. And like when Ryan wanted a flame for the RNA number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we had to choose specific tops for him. We're a small enough company that we can do that. I can cherry pick. And so a lot of times we'll put different boards up here that have characteristics that we like for one reason or another. Sometimes they'll be standard, like, God, that one's near 20-something feet long, and we probably chose that one for necks, but then sometimes we'll choose some for tops if it's got a nice curl on the end. You pay for it a little bit. Sometimes you'll see a nice figure, but then you might have some ambrosia happening in there. What we'll do is we'll end up choosing, we'll look at the side grain, we'll look at the top grain and see where we can cut it. Sometimes they'll end up being just stripes, like our stripies. Yeah. So, or the back of a neck, or in your case, when you're getting a 3-piece maple neck, that center stripe, make that bad boy on fire all the way down, and it's really, really cool stuff like that. So that's what we'll do with our tops.
So this is the top section.
Yeah, it's the top section. We've got some tops over there too, but this is definitely where we'll start choosing some of our, and this is actually not our best selection. I mean, today, you guys came in on a day where we're about to buy more high flame, so obviously we wouldn't use, a knotted piece like that for a top. Ambrosia, we wouldn't really use that for a top unless the customer wanted it. And some people do. It looks kind of cool when you do it. But you can see like some really cool striping in here. You see that? Oh, yeah, these will be saved for centers of necks on 3-piece necks and things like that. So that's what that will be.
Like that.
Yeah, and this piece is what is that? That's just hard maple. That's actually what we're using for the necks of our new model that we got coming out in the summer.
The new model.
So over here, when we're still in the wood room yet. Ryan, this is our. We've already pre-cut some, on our CNC machine, we pre-cut some cabinet parts. So these will be for the Jimmy or the Mean Gene. Actually, this one won't be the Mean Gene, it's too wide. These are Jimmy baffles right here. Or offset for the cabinets that are the porty cabinets. Right here you've got the back of the speakers that have the attenuators already. You can come up and see this. You're tall enough. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid, they're not going to bite you, neither will that spider. And so you have our cuts for our attenuators in the back, some of our bracing and some of our cleats for the area. We've separated them by amp, and these are obviously the tops of the smaller ones, the Mean Gene and the Mr. Terry. You can see the rabbit cuts underneath. That's what we use, a rabbit joint to go ahead and do the top mount on there because it gives us a nice strong joint for the bottom connection. So you can kind of see that. These are some of the cleats for the bracings on the inside of the amps. Some smaller cleats for the little guys. These are some of the back baffles that protects your tubes in the very back of the amplifier. And of course, this is the offset Mean Gene and Mr. Terry speaker. It is a smaller cabinet, so it's offset. So we pre-cut all of our stuff with the CNC machine. I'm still drawing all the CNC files for the amps, and I just drew the new one for the new model that shall remain unnamed. It'll be out by summer now. But actually, I can tell you guys, it's the Diane model. I've already told people that it's coming out, so it's going to be the Diane model, and I've drawn those files last night, so it's awesome.
You're talking about the guitar.
The guitar, yes.
Not the super secret amp.
I did throw, no, I'm not talking about the super secret amp yet. Super secret amp will be talked about a little later.
But there is a super secret.
Yes, there is. This is our wood room. This is where all of our, this is what we call we call it the white room because it's where the white woodwork is done. A lot of the top, the machining, the milling and all that. You come in here, it definitely feels better in here, but it's still a little stuffy. It is hot in Georgia right now, y'all. As the wood comes to us, before it gets to be a guitar, you want to make sure you've got true edges. So after we've already cut it on the radial saw and got it on the table saw, cut on the radial saw, we'll take it obviously to the, we'll actually take it over here and we'll go ahead and make the ends square, okay? And after we take it on, after we get the ends all square, because you can't join the pieces together, you can't on the joint, if you don't use the joiner, you can't join the pieces together and get nice true edges. So you can see here, there's a top. This one is Sapili. This is, oh my God, this weighs a ton. You can see we've already run, on the CNC, we've already run a cavity channel, and you can see the two pieces of wood joined together there. They have to be absolutely true. You have to get them perfectly flat on that joiner, and then you gotta stick them together to make them one piece. Oh my God, feel this, dude. Feel that.
It's not that bad.
Oh my gosh, that weighs like 87 pounds.
If you're a man.
And you can see,
if you're from Texas.
yeah, and you can see the.
It is heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy. You can see the end pins. What we do, this is the lining up pins right here on our CNC machine. So after we get these there, we put them down on the CNC. So when we flip it, we can put it back in the same spot. Yep. That way, we know how to actually line this bad boy back up. So we've learned a lot about how to use the CNC in the last few years. We've learned a lot what not to do. We've made a whole lot of mistakes. And after it gets done like this, and the tops are together, we usually put a top on it. So on a guitar, this would be the bottom, this would be the top, okay? Like Ashley was saying earlier, we get one of those top pieces of wood, and you can see that one's got flame. Depending on how you catch it, how you do it, and how you stain. Yep. So you need to glue the tops on the back. So we machine the inside out, whatever we need to run, to pick up cavities. If it's a hollow body, we do the inside, hold the hollow body and everything. And then you put it in the press. And we basically take our press to push the top onto the bottom and glue it. So you got to glue on the top and the bottom, holds that guitar together. So that's how we do it here. Some people do like everybody would have a press to do that. But if you're doing like for example, a semi-hollow and you're doing more like a jazz traditional, you would have a totally top separate than the bottom. You would have to glue those edges with binding just like you would an acoustic guitar. We do ours as one piece. We route out the inside, then flip the top, route the inside of the top, and then as we put them on it becomes one piece like that. But it's a little bit different process with a semi-hollow than it is like, for example, like a Benedetto, which they built 45 miles away. Great company. A little bit different process for us. All right, so obviously we've got our bandsaw. We start trimming off the excess edges. We've got our planer, and what the planer does, this is the top. This is a pretty even keel. It's a pretty even keel flame. It's kind of nice. It's got that nice burst in the middle. So if we do a burst on this, that flame will jump out really well. Well, as you can see, you can feel that, Ron. Can you feel that?
I can feel it.
Okay, so this piece of wood, it probably was planed to a certain degree, but you can still feel that. So what we want to do is we still want that to be about a 3/4 inch top. We plane it down to a certain degree, and then what we want to do is we want to get it through the thickness sander to get it perfectly thick, the exact thickness that we know it is, so that when the CNC zeroes out, it knows that it's the right depth, that way our natural binding on the side, it gets that actual binding at the right depth, because if this piece isn't right, nothing is right. So we're getting, they've probably run this a few times on the planer. We got a nice top. Ooh, look at this.
Uh-oh.
Look at this.
Don't show me that.
Yeah, we got a nice top about to go through there. And that's, you can see it's uneven. It's a little crooked, obviously, and it should be because nothing is perfect when you're dealing with wood. We're gonna run that through the planer. We're gonna get that nice and flush. Then we're gonna take it through the thickness sander to get it absolutely right.
I used to run the planer when I was right out of high school. I worked in a wood shop. And run.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it was
the
like
massive ones, yeah.
giant.
Yeah, we only have to deal with 18-inch guitar tops. That's all we gotta do.
Yeah, not huge tables.
You can see our table here, our CNC. You can tell that we've been working on It's appealing, and you can also tell we've been working on red grandis. The red grandis, as you can tell, is a much lighter wood color. The sawdust is much lighter. Now, the way we've got our table set up, we've got six righties, 1 lefty. So this is exactly opposite of this. Okay, you can see the belly cut of the guitar. This would be the next side of the belly cut. This is also set up for a, actually this is also set up, you can see that cavity cut right there. We also have this set up for a mark as well. Now our new model, the Diane, we're going to have to make a special jig for it because the gaskets on the vacuum will not hold that down because it's got a hole all the way through it where the pickup cavity goes.
Right.
And so what's interesting is the vacuum can't hold down because it can't. There's nothing to pull it. So we'll end up using tape and we'll end up making a specific jig for it. So it'll be kind of cool. So the CNC, we can run basically six guitars at once, 1 lefty, and each stage it goes through the milling process. Whatever kind of bit we're using. Right now we just got a let's see,
The big
yeah, it's a big one. It's like, it looks like almost like a 1/2 inch, just flat nose bit. For our roundover and things like, not a roundover, but for the contour top, we start using a ball end, and it can do a much smoother contour because it is a round bit. That one's a good flat end. If I'm seeing it right. I think I'm seeing it right. You know, this is a shop bought CNC made in North Carolina. This is what we started with. We do our amplifier cabinets and our guitars on the exact same CNC. So you'll also see some plywood around here from time to time, you know, spitting out pieces. Here we've got a radial sander and, a spindle sander. And what we'll do here is we'll get those nice finest spots on necks and all that kind of stuff. We'll get those nice edges that take off the burrs, all that kind of stuff with the necks. Get this final there. This, as you can see, we're gluing up a red grandis body. So that's how, look how that grain, how smooth that grain is.
Yeah.
I love red grandis. I love red grandis. I think it's more of a blonde redwood, but it's my new favorite thing for CMG. I love it. And we're gonna build some Dianes out of red grandis too. I think the wood works out really well for that type of stuff. So I like it for, it is a tone wood, it's in that family. So it's just a really good wood, so I like that wood. So we make a lot of mistakes and spill a lot of things around here.
No.
These are the headstock veneers. Ryan was at my house last night. He'll be there this week. I'll laser all of these out. You can see that we just didn't poke them out yet. I'll laser these out at my house on the CNC. On the laser CNC. And what we do is we laser the plaid dot out. Then we go back and inlay the mahogany.
I want to poke one.
Poke one out. What? Look at that. It's like that game of Price is Right.
It is. So whoever gets this one, it was specially made 0.001% by Ryan from RNA
By
Music.
Ryan of RNA Music. That's right.
I can't get that one.
And I'm sure we'll know which one that was. I'm sure we'll know.
It'll be the one that still has.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you get a guitar and it's only 5 strings with this in it,
That was mine.
that was his. And somehow I didn't inspect it. How did I miss that? You know, I've missed other things, never that. This is one of our sanding jig for our, we sand and level the frets on this jig, so you can see that the fretboard. Actually, I'll grab one for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not fretboard. I'm sorry, the neck. You can see that this is a red grandis neck. This is number 770.
70.
770. So you can see right here we've got a jig that the fretboard fits in. As we've got, the neck fits in. As we have the fretboard on the guitar, at this point the fretboard would all be attached. You can see a lot of metal shavings down there. That's where we take the sanding block and go ahead and start radiusing those frets. Because a fret press presses them in. You know, most people don't realize this, but this is what a fret looks like. This is a fret, okay? So a fret is this long. We take the radial press, the arbor press, and push it on there, and you can tell it's got the 12-inch radius on it. So it helps, but again, it's still not radiused. I mean, it's, you know, you've got to do a lot of sanding. It's not like you put a fret in, press it, and cut it, and you're done. That's not even close to what happens. You put the fret in, you push it down, you clamp it, you snip it on both ends. After you get the fretboard on there, then you have to take the radiusing block, radius it. Then when you're done, you're still not done. You've got to still crown it. You still got to get the edges smooth. You got to, you know, round out the edges. And then of course at the end of that, you've got to take a. You can see James working here on the radiusing block right here. Feel this. Feel this with your hand.
Oh yeah, that's sharp.
That would kill you.
That's like a Chinese guitar.
That'd be like Nicholas's finger.
Yeah.
Nick the cameraman cut his finger at my house last night.
Don't rub your finger on that.
Don't rub your finger on this. It'll cut you like a saw blade. Yeah, so this is one that I just did. I just did this week. So this was just done at the house this week. And
blocks.
yeah, that's our diagonal block inlay. By the way, little secret on CMG guitars. That diagonal cut is at 12 degrees because I started playing music when I was 12. So I do these little hidden things all in our instruments that we build, because it really it says, hey, it says a little something about us. I get to make these decisions. I get to do it. So I did these blocks last week at the house, and we're just starting to put the frets on them. Now, you had an Ask RNA question that you talked about CITES. People want to know what we do with CITES, what we do when we ship guitars overseas. How do we handle that? For those of you who don't know, CITES is a law that's basically you can't ship rosewood overseas without a permit and this, that, and the other.
You can do it, there's just a lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork involved. We're too small to mess with all that paperwork. So what we do is we use a type of wood called Cataloche. Now this is how we order fretboards. We order fretboards. They're called a finished product. They're not a finished product, obviously. There's no way this is that, as you can see.
Right.
But when you order the wood,
You turn that into this.
yes, we do. Yes,
Here
we do.
in-house.
In-house, that's right. But the reason why we order it as a quote-unquote finished product is because when we order rosewood as a finished product, we know that the companies that we buy it for have bought it legitimately, legally, and they're being held an obligation to prove that. We're not taking down rainforest trees. We're not doing that. That's nothing we want to do. So what our interest is, now this is Cataloche. It's sometimes called Mexican rosewood. You'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference. It's a good wood, really good wood. It's actually got a little bit more of the density of ebony, so it feels a little more dense than rosewood, but it gives you that wonderful rosewood color, that nice chocolate brown.
Yeah, I was thinking it's almost like a hybrid of ebony.
Yeah, it is.
A hybrid of ebony and rosewood.
That's right. So this is actual ebony. So you can feel the smoothness of that, and then ebony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a Cataloche, if you guys have always wanted the look of rosewood, but you want the feel of ebony, Cataloche is the way to go. It's spelled K-A-T-A-L-O-X. It looks like Catalox, but it's called Cataloche. If you want that, that is a really, really good wood. If you want that hybrid, nice ebony tightness, but you like the look of that chocolate brown rosewood, that's the way to go. Very cool. Obviously, we've got our router table here. This is what we like to do the, James right now, he's been doing the round over on the mark himself by hand on the router table. When he saw my father, he goes, wait a minute, you programmed in the round over? I said, yes, I did. So I programmed in the round over in the CNC so he doesn't have to do it on the table anymore.
Oh,
so
nice.
so it's, you're welcome, James, but you know, we hope it works out really well because we make it next week, so we'll find out if it does. Yeah. But honestly, you know, then you got your belt sander over here. This is sometimes we can take those nice little edges off of things that just need that last little bit. You know, hitting fretboards, make sure we get everything right. You've got our Diane and our Mark necks over here. This is actually the first Diane neck. This is number 765. This is actually a hard maple, and it's a really, really, really solid little piece of wood. We're not done with it.
Right.
It comes off the CNC looking about like this, so you can see the rough edges. There's a lot of sanding that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So people that think we push a button and then we're done, it's couldn't be further from the truth.
It's people think that the CNC just does it all. Why is it? It's like, well, it does the rough out stuff.
Right. It does rough out stuff.
But there's a lot of finish work that goes into this stuff.
15 man hours per guitar that we build. So humans sanding it, humans touching it, humans playing it, humans rejecting it, humans bringing it back. You know,
And that's not counting the machine hours.
That's not
because it
including-
takes a while for the CNC to.
Yeah, it'll cut out our machine. Our shot bot will cut out a guitar guitar body in about 45 minutes. Now, here's the interesting about that. Ashley's got a friend at her MS support group. This is kind of funny. His name is Mike. And he came in, he and his son wanted to do a guitar build project. And he said, hey man, I just didn't know if you had any spare bodies. I said, walk with me. So we go upstairs and I go to the graveyard where we've had a lot of oopses. And they happen, they just happen. If you ever work with wood, you have oopses. And so he said, hey man, would you like a cabinet for your CNC computer? I went, why yes I would. He saw our little computer sticking over there on a shelf, getting dust all over it. So I said, how much, he asked me how much he owes me for the body. I said, Hank man, give me that cabinet. So he swapped out, he gave us a cabinet for it, and I gave him a guitar and a body. I think 2 of them for he and his son to work on, maybe one of these. And this is interesting, this is our neck jig. It's kind of hard to see, we do 3 necks at a time. And this will hold an Ashley and a Mark. You see our pins here. This was a kind of a cool little trick. We've got tape on there, it's real sticky, but we use corian. So this is actually corian that we've done that, and it lasts a whole lot longer than that ABS and whatnot. Not the ABS, than the MDF. Yeah. So you can see our corian for the Marks, and the Ashley, and you can see the corian there for the Ashley. So it's kind of cool. So we've done all this kind of stuff, and then we've got different files that we run for the CNC, how we do it. You know, the great thing is that Lane with Devilcat is an engineer, So whenever we needed to go, when we needed to have a piece that was 3-phase power versus, you know, single phase or 3-phase, you know, Lane has been wired and having it's awesome. So having a brilliant genius like that, when a machine breaks, we fix it. So, I mean, Lane and James can fix anything that breaks here, and if they can't, Steve can. So it's like it's a great place, you know, it's really cool. So that's cool. So hey, what do you think, guys? Maybe we'll make a model with this style headstock and the upside down.
Reverse.
Oh, we can.
It's very contentious.
Oh yeah. It's
Some people like the reverse, some people hate it.
Oh, Hendrix, man. You know what's funny about it? I can understand. Used to, I was wondering, why do you do this? But really, June, it's a pretty easy way to tune. Your arm is in a natural motion already, and you're not doing this with your shoulders. So this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, it does. It really makes a lot of sense. So if you think about the ergonomics.
You get a lot more tension on the low E string, I think. I've heard people say that because it's a straight through for the low E.
Okay.
The tension, something about the tension on the E string because the tuner's so far back.
So
I
far
don't know
back.
if that's true.
Well, you would have to. You just have to make sure that break angle is there on the nut. So you're right. Your basic retainers, your string retainers that keep that. That's why you have a string retainer on a B on the middle two strings and whatnot on a Strat or any other S-style single side guitar, because you want that you want to pull the string. If this is the nut, you want to pull the strings down so you have that break angle so it actually cuts the sound. Otherwise, the string's just going to keep on going and it won't actually stop the sound. So that's definitely what you want. Yeah. So here's a really cool shot. If you want to come in on this, Nick, don't be shy, man. Get the camera, man. All right, so these are some backs and these are some tops. This one's on fire. That is on fire. Look at that. That bad boy's on fire. Oh yeah. This is, if you ever wanted to see our chambering pattern that we use, that's the chambering pattern that we use for a weight relief guitar. So when we actually take off some of the weight relief, you'll notice that these areas aren't as deep. That's because we have to compensate for the belly cut on the back.
Right.
So the belly cut's going to come in like that. Well, if we did all the way through, you would have holes in the back of your guitar. So this is what we do. Like I said, you can see the wiring channel. You'll notice that it's kind of funny, but you know, we don't put the neck pickup pocket, we don't put the toggle switch up at the top. We put it down at the bottom where Jesus intended it. But the reason why we do that is because you know, I've never thought it was a good spot. And then if you go to tap or something like that, you're always knocking out of phase. You're always hitting it with your hand. And the reason why it's like that, actually, you know, our lawyer, great guy named Ronald Beanstalk, who helped me out a few years ago, he said the reason why that was originally done is because Les Paul was in a car accident. And when he broke his arm or shoulder, he couldn't hyperextend it further. He was in a cast, so he wanted to make sure it was where he could play. So he put it up there where he could grab it. So it's really designed for a person with a broken arm. So we really put it down where people with non-broken arms can actually play this thing, you know, where it makes sense, and again, where God intended.
Well, you can get to it. You can flip, you can toggle.
That's right. You can toggle.
I mean, you get used to it doing it up here, I guess.
But you shouldn't have to get used to it.
It's much more
efficient. You
efficient.
shouldn't have to get used to it. Yeah. See, Paul Reed Smith was right about that. Leo was right about that.
Paul knows a few things.
Paul knows a few things. Leo knew a few things. But Leo's big thing was, and I will say this, and if you're a Strat guy, hey, I understand. I grew up, I played a Strat my first 12 years of my life, and I love them. The angle of the toggle is just annoying. It gets your down strum knocks it out of phase. Our Diane will not have that problem. What? Okay. But Leo got a whole lot else right, man. Holy moly, we were standing on the shoulders of giants. Yeah. On the shoulders of giants. So, but yeah, you can see the tops and the backs. You can see that this will be a swinging bridge right here. We labeled stuff of who it's going to be, who it's going to go for. We'll have different things that we'll have pieces that we designate for Marks, different pieces that we'll designate for Dianes.
What's that body up there?
Which one? This one?
Chocolatey thing.
Oh, that's a Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a Mark Nashville. That's newly CNC'd. You can see sometimes we're having some variations on that. I don't know if this is an old one. I don't know how old this is. This could have been an old prototype. It could be a relatively new one. This one.
Let's test.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, there you go. Test first, yeah, so there you go. So this is where we're having some lineups. One of the new things that I'm doing is I've always worked in Illustrator to do these designs, to do our cavity designs and stuff like that. But the problem is I didn't work in a 3D program at first to do this and to match it up. I had to really freaking guess. Well, nowadays I'm working in Rhino to do both. So I can literally pull my file out of Rhino, take it into Illustrator and make sure it lines up perfectly, and then we can deal with the variations of wood after the fact. At least I'm not guessing and shooting, shooting in the dark, throwing darts at a board that I can't even see. So now we're doing this in a much more organized fashion. Yeah. So so we have this. This is one after the lacquer. The other thing you have to compensate for after you spray lacquer on something, then how well does it fit?
Yeah, because there's That's thicknesses.
3 mils. It could add 3 mils of thickness, 3/1000 of an inch, and all of a sudden you're like wedging and you're like, oh my God, that doesn't fit. Why can't I get that in there? So and not only that, you have to compensate for what the bit does. If a bit hits it this way, it has a tendency to move that way. This way, it moves that way. So how strong is your collet inside your CNC? What speed and tolerances can you get that will give you those tolerances? Which we've had to learn. We've had to, what works for what. It's really interesting. Oh man, and you see some pink foam up there. We test out all new models in a pink foam. So if we're going to make a change to something, we test it on pink foam so we're not destroying a piece of wood.
Right.
We're actually just putting it on foam and then seeing how well it cuts. That gives us a good idea of like kind of what's like what you're kind of probably going to see.
Yeah.
And that way, what's really cool about that is when you program the G code, if you don't program what we call the approach, or if you don't program that step going into it, like we've had guitars that the stripey was developed because one day we're running, the power goes out. Power comes back on, it goes right through a body. We had to save it, so we started building stripies to save the wood. So sometimes, when your ramp approach on a CNC, I forgot to program that ramp just right. So if it starts down here, it'll cut a body in half instead of starting up here and then hitting it there. So it's just little things like that we've had to learn.
It's like trying to fly through an asteroid field.
It's exactly like, it ain't like dusting crops. I'm gonna tell you right now. You don't get the nav coordinates from the computer. You hit the meteorite real fast and send you right home, man.
End your trip real quick.
Real quick. That's right. Ain't like dusting crops, boy. James has got a little list on here. Build this week. He knows that this is going to build this week. This is a red grandis neck. As you can see, this has got Haas to it. I mean, it's not. I'm not talking about featherweight wood.
Yeah.
It's legitimate wood. And now what we've done is we've started our wood as left and right pieces. So you can see that the glue joints, of course, that were left and right. You get a stronger neck from a true glue joint. It just glues stronger than natural wood because it's synthetic. It's hard as a rock, and you get a really true joint. And 2 pieces of wood. It's kind of like they say, 2 sets of eyes, 2 sets of ears, always better. 2 pieces of wood, one's keeping the other one honest. That's kind of what we want. Plus you got the truss rod, plus you got the fretboard, you got a whole lot of engineering going into it after that. So but the 2 pieces of wood is great. It uses that wonderful straight grain, it looks great left and right, it's matched perfectly. We don't have to do the dog ears. You see old Gibsons with the dog ears on the side? Yeah. We don't have to do that because we do glue 2 pieces of wood together, which gives us the width for our beautiful Ashley headstock. All right, cool.
So it's stronger than just a 1 piece.
Oh yeah, it's stronger. Yeah.
Would a 3-piece be even stronger?
The general rule is the more.
Is there a diminishing returns?
Well, I don't. As far as we did a test one time of straight grain versus cathedral grain versus flat sawn. So we did a test versus what we call quarter sawn, which is your grain going that way,
yeah,
and flat sawn, which you get the cathedral look. You see flat sawn on a lot of back of guitar necks. If you see that cathedral pattern, like it looks like an archway to a Gothic cathedral, that's a flat sawn neck. We've built guitars with both. We've done tests with both. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. You get marginal results, but you get a little bit better. You get a little bit better strength with the quarter sawn. We just like to do a 2-piece neck because aesthetically, not only is it stronger, but it looks great. Also, now I like a 3-piece too. I like building a 3-piece. If we build a 5-piece, it's going to be beautiful strong. You're going to have all that glue in there, all that strength pull in different directions, just like plywood. Plywood will hold its own a lot better than particle board, or a lot better than it. If you take a solid piece of wood and you lay it outside in Georgia, it'll warp overnight. Yeah. Easily. Plywood won't do it. That glue holds it together.
I feel like I need to save people because Chris talks too much.
Well, he does like to do a lot of editing, so he's going to edit a lot.
Yeah.
Our viewers like really long videos.
That's right.
Sure.
She's
So,
like, yeah,
sure. So real quick, the last little thing is about that neck, Martin makes a guitar with that like 30-something layers of wood.
Yeah.
That neck is dang near indestructible. So my hat's off to Martin for pushing the boundaries of what a neck can do. That's a strong neck. A 5-piece neck is good. Yours are always 3 pieces, so they're solid necks. But again, you can have I prefer not to build a single piece neck when it comes to like a LP style because of the angle of the neck.
Yeah.
I really want to get a single piece of wood that big is just massive and expensive. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather be economical and environmentally friendly. So that's really why we do it.
No wasted wood.
No wasted wood. That's
minimal
right.
Wasted wood.
Very minimal. That's right. Hog it out, get what you need, and put it back in the air. All right, now we're going to see the spray booth. What? It's a. And I feel like
Never went
it's a
into
small
air
booth.
conditioning. You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
Or anal buffing, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Okay. Now, Your yeah, go ahead and film. Are you filming it, bud? You got it on? Okay, so what we're doing is first of all, let me congratulate Ron. You have done number 5 of 5 RNA. We did 5 RNA customs, and he's achieved his goal. James is in here. He's doing some wet sanding and some buffing right now. He just did some of the wet sanding on the top. After you spray guitar, which we can do it out of order. I want you to see the process. After you spray guitar, it looks like what we call orange peel. It's bumpy, so you have to wet sand it and then get it level. And then James is working on that now. That's what he was in here wet sanding now. You can see we did the beautiful neck on this bad boy.
That's the sexy fretboard.
That is a sexy fretboard. It is a sexy fretboard.
Magnificent.
Possibly the sexiest fretboard that's done.
That is actually true.
I think it probably is.
That's actually
I
true.
think is,
and you saw the video where I had one shot to get this daggone thing. It's stress.
Yeah.
So I'm laying on the, you guys saw the video where I'm laying on the laser and I'd already taken measurements from here to here and I drew the straight. I'm like, okay, it looks right. And then we cut it. And I'm like, hallelujah. I was like, holy crap. So that's cool. And as Ryan was saying, guys, if y'all seen the video, Ryan's guitar is a 3-piece neck, which got that really pretty stripe down the middle. So it's really, really pretty.
is it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready. There's Angela from RNA Music.
I'm going to take you guys into the, we have a small spray booth, and we only hold about 3 guitars up at once. So we have the ventilation system to pull everything out, we hang up 3 guitars. You can see our different colors on the wall, from Bubba Blue to our beautiful amber that we do, which is yellow. And as you get multiple layers of the yellow, that's why you get the sunburst and all that kind of stuff. All right, so now we're back in the spray room, and Ryan has had to switch to the iPad because he did not charge his camera battery last night.
I didn't.
Anyway.
Noob.
That's right, yeah, such an amateur over there. But anyway, yeah, so we only spray a couple guitars a week, about 2 at a time. You can see our different colors on the wall that we test, from the Bubba Blue to the amber. And of course we have our swatches over there. You can see that we kind of go by this, our emerald, this is our dazzle burst, this is a honey, this is whatever swatch you like. That just reminds us what we're doing, the colors that we can always compare it to, that we make sure that we get as consistent as wood will allow us. So not much to look at in here, just a bunch of color on the wall. So we don't have anything in the booth right now because we're finishing guitars. It's already later in the week that they're time to be out of here. It's time to finish them.
Yeah, they're ready to go home.
That's right. Find their mother.
That is such an Aiden face.
Here, Ryan, film this. Now he's putting buffing compound on the buffing wheel, and James is getting ready to go ahead and start buffing the guitar.
Angela K.
Go ahead, get right along. There you go. All right, there you go. Win-win. All right. You get the crap out of your class here. That's right. That is RNA number 5 getting buffed. 505. Okay. We had a few. No, we don't pay them. Is people have always asked us why our guitars are so affordable. We're not just one company. We do a lot of things here. So I want to keep and make an affordable American product so that people can really, really afford to work over summers, cut grass, and get a really good guitar. So a lot of things under one roof.
So our steampunk guitar, a lot of the parts of the steampunk guitar came from this lathe,
Yep.
or were modified on the lathe.
And so this is definitely beyond my pay grade. I do not touch the lathe. No, nobody wants me touching the lathe. But we could make a pretty sweet lightsaber handle with it. And I'm pretty sure Lane could do the electronics, so we could make a working lightsaber. That's our next business venture. We're going to make working lightsabers.
God help you.
But that's down the road. Devilcat lightsabers. But anyway, so we do a lot of everything. So we make all the parts that we need. As you can see, the band and orchestra instruments in the same vicinity. We do a lot of repairs here. Now we're going to tour Devilcat.
Yay!
Okay, so James built this wonderful ugly wall this year, so he wanted to stay away from Steve as much as he could. So he built this wall as a retaining wall. But we also have the guitars on the back side of this wall, and he wouldn't stay away from the hammering and the noise and all that kind of stuff. So you hear the guitars each day when he's tuning them. And this is where you do the final setup. So all of the electronics are done here. All of the strings, everything like that, the final setup. It gets set up, ready for me to play. So here we got a couple. This one is every guitar. I'm coming around. Every guitar gets a build sheet. So the build sheet follows the guitar from the beginning to the end of its life. This is a local guy. My name is Sid Morgan. A funny story. I used to teach his dad guitar years and years ago. So this is actually a mark that he wanted in a Georgia Sunset, and he didn't want a pick guard on it. So this is our very first mark built without a pick guard that's not a fat cat. This one I'll end up playtesting today. So let's go ahead and this is how I do it. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm testing guitar for a customer named Sid Morgan. Sid is, like I said, I used to teach his dad guitar years and years and years ago at our old shop. And he's a local guy. And so what he's doing is he's gotten a custom made. And this is our very first, I just showed you guys this in the previous video. This is our very first mark with no pick guard that's not a fat cat. I believe, isn't that right, Lane? I think this is our first one that's not a fat cat without a pick guard.
Yeah. What's the fat cat?
The fat cat is the Seymour Duncan P90. And they come with, we make them with 2 fat cats. They sound amazing.
Not the DeMarzius.
No, that one's not the DeMarzius. That one's the Seymour Duncan. Let me correct that right on that video. That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's
that was a
correcting
mistake for
that.
sure.
So way to go, Seymour. Way to go on that one. You did that one right, brother. And I just keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. Okay, so James just told me, he said there might not be enough. There may be a little buzz on it. So we might have to do a little setup even after I'm done testing. I do test every guitar with me. Oh yeah. I'm going to throw that reverb on there a little bit here. What I do when I come in and I test every guitar. Okay, so far so good. I'll pull that reverb down. Then I go through the pickup selection. So I do a lot of the same tests on the same riffs over and over because it shows me all around the fretboard of where my problems are going to be. So I'm sure the guys go, yeah, there goes that Johnny Cash lick again, you know. Actually, it's pretty nice playing.
Yeah,
And Sid's not
he wasn't sure.
Well, Sid's not a hard player. He's not an aggressive player, so. I'm not a hard player either. About as hard as I get is. So if I'm getting some funk in there, I'll hit. If you're a harder player than me, then it might have to be reset up for you. We've done that before with people in the past. So it's kind of it's just what the customer wants, you know. So, on that bottom, yeah. It's not that there's not room. I know why you thought that, but it's not. Now all I gotta do is look at this one up and down every inch and see if it passes the inspection. It passes the play inspection, definitely. There you go. Alright, so Lane is the mastermind with Devilcat. He is the brilliant engineer behind all of these. He designs all of these circuit boards.
Emphasis on brilliant.
In what?
On
Emphasis.
brilliant.
Yes,
Emphasis.
emphasis on the brilliant. As right now he's putting together a Francine, and we wire everything over to this from the circuit board to the chassis, so you don't have any surface mount. You know, for those of you that are watching and don't understand amplifiers, surface mount is when they take a component and they mount it to the surface and it also touches the chassis. The problem with that is you're picking it up from a gig, you're tired, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, it's moving around the car. All that movement against the chassis eventually will cause those solder points to break off the chassis. So it's sitting there touching that and it's moving around. Here it is, bud. I thought I just saw it. There it is. But it's basically, you know, sitting there and touching that and the chassis and the amp, so it causes a breaking point. So we wire everything over that's going to touch the chassis from the from the circuit board to the chassis. So it's kind of a mix of old school and new school. The new school, of course, being the density of this. You just way too hard to do this by hand, way too much work if you had to do it all on breadboards, if you had to do it on wax board. But when you wire over, you get the structural integrity of a classic amp, but you also get the advances and also the advantage of a modern circuit board. So it's really, really cool. And as you can see, Devilcat amps made in the USA right there, baby.
We are not in China at the moment.
No, unless China is located at 1993 Randall Lara Road, we don't make this in China. So I don't know what you guys on the interwebs keep talking about, but it's right here in Statesboro, Georgia. Anyway, yeah, so Lane's going to take these, he's going to turn it into that. And make these amps. We're about to show you where we have the chassis, how the chassis start out. These are the bottom parts of the Francine and the Gussie and the Missy. These are our shielding. This is 18 gauge steel or 20 gauge depending on what we're running. This is our shielding for the Jimmy and the Jimmy Jr. It's heavy duty stuff. We don't put aluminum foil in there. We put real man stuff in here. You can see the Francine. There's a blank chassis that we're getting ready. I think it's going to go on the Francine that Lane's building right now. We're switching companies to the powder coating right now. The company right next door to us went out of business last year, so we moved to a new place that is powder coating our stuff. So we're going to look out for some kind of new colors and kind of new things. They offer a little bit different stuff. When we built it, you can see that the Jimmy, we knew it was going to be so heavy, so we opposite the power transformer so that it balanced the weight out. That's something that a lot of companies don't think of. A lot will put them all on one side. That's great when you've got a small amp. When you've got a big amp, if you put them all on one side, the amp does this. It rocks back in your hand. So from the get-go, Lane and I decided to put the transformers on the opposite side. So it's kind of cool. But so we start here as a blank chassis. We get these made literally 25 miles down the road. They make these for us. They're custom for each amp. And they go by our drawings. Lane and I send them drawings. They rebuild them out and they cut them out. They laser these and put them on brakes and cut them out. It's really sweet.
That's a heavy duty laser.
That's a heavy duty laser. My laser will not do that. That is an industrial, oh my God, don't get anywhere near this without preparedness. You know,
it's a lightsaber laser.
It is. It is. It's actually crazy watching it. When you're lasering out, you know, a piece of steel, 20 gauge steel, 18 gauge steel, you're doing something. Yeah.
Their electric bill is pricey.
That's their bill, not ours. Alright guys, so right now we're in our amp Tolex room. This is where we wrap the cabinets in Tolex and we put the boxes together. Right now you can see we've got band instruments in here because it is the band rental return season. And we're getting ready to do that this summer, get through all that, then we can start the fall out fresh with a slew of instruments, so we can go ahead and get these back in the hands of kids and start them on music. We got some of our amp parts under there that we do for the table for assembly. And this is all of our different Tolexes. You've got the British green that we use. We've got the Western Tolex, the Bubba Blue, as well as the 57, the orange creamsicle. I love that, and then of course our black. So our different grill cloths are in the back as well. Let me see. I think the black is probably somewhere else, probably in the other room. And then we have the cane, a little bit of cane left back there. We also have some new cane that we've got that we started using. We really like it. Also, you can see this with Devilcat. After we build them, we'll go ahead and create a lot of cabinets that we can kind of go ahead and put some combos or different heads together. They're getting ready to be Tolex, they're getting ready to get a finish on them. And then sometimes you will see different parts stored in here. After we do things, we get them ready. The closer they get ready to finish, they get closer to here. Then they start getting ready for final assembly and then build out an amplifier. That's how we do it. It's pretty simple.
Where's the Python?
Oh, the pipe. Well, you know what? We might be kind of. Oh, it's probably on the back behind that roll. That's right. It's probably on the back behind that
Because that's
roll.
rock and roll.
Yeah, it is definitely rock and roll.
It's definitely
yeah.
80s.
You see the. This is an oops bin right here. You can see some Python there with some stuff that, you know, you make a mistake on something, you can kind of maybe salvage it for a back panel or something like that. You know, you may not have enough to actually use a side or a top, but if you've still got really good usable space, you know, you might salvage it for a back panel or something like that.
I have a Python, Jimmy.
Yes, you do.
Just let you know.
Yes, you do. But yeah, so that's what we do, and we start. You know, there's some it's Python over there. It's just wrapped around. You see the white. That's the underside of it, just wrapped.
There it
around.
is.
Yeah.
I like the Western plaid one a lot.
The Western's very cool.
If I were going to recover one of
mine is Western.
That's what you do?
I would
Yeah,
get the Western.
mine is Western. Mine is Western.
Python's pretty sweet, but the Western's
It is. It's pretty.
a little more Texas.
That means we might need to take that.
That's
Did
a lot
we
more
decide whether or
Texas.
not we're taking a Western to Nam Lane?
You said not to.
I did.
Yeah, and I can't believe that. Because I said that was going to be the most popular one. You said that
Then maybe we should do that little small combo in the Western. I think you were right about that.
Don't
So
take more than
this-
your.
Well, this is the Jimmy Jr.
okay, so you're talking about the new one.
The new one. Let's do that
He's
one. in
covering it
Western.
right now. You better make up
What's
your
he covering
mind.
it in?
Let's
Let's do
cover it in
Western.
brown with tan.
Let's do Western and tan. Let's do that.
I gotta call him and get him to come
Okay.
back up here.
Yeah, let's do Western and tan. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Western
Wayne,
and cane.
not the cane because we don't have that cane anymore.
We have a bunch of cane.
I thought we didn't have much cane left.
Well,
I thought we were almost out of cane.
we have some cane. I'll
Yeah,
show
but
you
if
what we have.
If they order, I saw it over there.
Okay.
If they order it, we can get the new.
Well, the Western doesn't look as good with the tan.
Oh yeah, we've also got that other can that we're talking about adding to the
Yeah.
fray too. Okay, you can go ahead and add
Let's
the can.
talk about this,
Okay.
okay?
All right, well, we are talking about it.
Off
No,
camera.
We're not talking about it on camera.
Oh,
okay?
Lane is the
We're
one
not
that
gonna talk about this
He
on
keeps
camera.
these. Oh, we talk about this on camera. No. What do you mean we're not using cane? No, okay, no.
Let's do some fake tension. I need more tension in this
No,
shot.
this is reality. He wanted to have a reality show out here. You don't know this, but he wanted to have a reality show out here
You would be
and
happy
have
to
all this
do your
turmoil and
way.
all this craziness.
Yeah,
I can believe it.
It would be legitimate crazy.
You finally dropped that notion.
Oh yeah,
but that was cool.
And you know what? After being followed around with the dude with the camera all day, I'm like, I'm glad we finally did it. I was
thank
totally
you
out of my
very much.
mind, you know.
Yeah.
But
So
honestly,
much editing.
Yes.
What we were going to do with the new one was the brown, which is a Western color but without the texture,
Mhm.
and tan. All right, the tan, black and tan both.
Hey,
That's
everybody.
what we decided on.
We're waiting for him to stop talking.
What happened
So
to
we
your
can go to the
finger?
story. Yeah, what happened to your
Nothing.
finger, Nicholas?
And we got the 57 J.
Nothing.
All right. So
It wasn't
I
Georgia.
think maybe that new one.
It was
Maybe
almost
in
Nicholas.
the cane.
We haven't been to the ocean yet, so it can't be a shark.
That's fine. I can live with that.
Yeah,
It's
good.
not a
Wait,
shark.
don't get in the ocean with that finger.
should have decided this.
You'll attract sharks.
I'm worried about crabs that I won't
That's
see.
right.
All right.
okay.
We can do Western and cane and something else.
Problem.
Crabs don't eat your face
Okay.
Crabs live in deep water.
or your leg off.
Well, let's bring a black that they've got.
Yeah.
Giant crabs, not the little
We'll
bitty
take a
crabs.
Western next year.
And those live in the northeast waters.
It's no big deal. They know they can see it. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
So while I'm here, if you could re-Tolex my Jimmy Jr. and-
No,
Yeah.
no, not happening.
He's like, this guy is always asking for stuff.
Always pushing
Always
the limit.
pushing-
Yeah.
Pushing. He asked for this, then he says, "Oh, while you're doing that, then
Oh,
you normally don't
while
you
you're
also
there-
did
All
that."
right, now that you're already in there.
Could you do
Yeah.
this thing
Right.
that takes 30 hours?
Oh, I know
In
you,
like
Ron Lawley.
30 minutes.
You got a question from the booth here.
Yes, sir.
Did you bring EMGs?
I did.
Where are they?
I brought them. They're in the
Where's
car.
his guitar?
You like it?
I do like it. Yeah, I forgot how good that plays. Ron's got 9.5s on this. This is number 326, which happens to be their anniversary for Ron and Angela. And as soon as he got it, he's like, "Oh my God, this is our anniversary!" And
I called you and I said, hey, do you have number 326 coming up soon? Is it in the factory right now? Or maybe you have it? And he's like, isn't that what I just sent you? I'm like, let me go check.
is that how that happened?
Yeah, it's
I didn't
exactly how
remember-
it
I don't remember how that happened.
I have the memory of a tiny elephant.
Yeah, well, it's kind of
Angela has a flawless memory, by the way, so everything you say
yes,
and do
yes,
will be held
we held
against you.
Well, the interesting thing is, as you guys know, in our old school, we didn't really know what to do with serial numbers, so we put serial numbers, we put stickers on there until about serial number 500. 500 and then about 503, 504, Russell started throwing some stickers on there. He's like, Russell, we've stopped the stickers, we're stamping now. So we moved back to about 505. Everything from 505 until, something or other has a stamp. And then now everything is laser engraved with the serial, the make and model, all that stuff, made in Statesboro, Georgia. Everything's laser right now in my garage. I laser everything on my laser, and you guys will get to see that work a little bit later. So, cool.
Nice.
Key.
Hi guys. Well, we're back in Texas, and I realized we didn't really do a little wrap-up clip of the factory tour. We were so busy, and we had so many plans going, and places to go, and stuff to do, and things to film. And I was excited about bringing in my pickups. But anyways, that was the factory tour in Statesboro, Georgia of CMG guitars and Devilcat amps, all made in Georgia. It's crazy. I get this question and comment because we have a lot of YouTube videos about CMG guitars. People are like, "Hey, that's made in China. They heard it." That's kind of what it sounds like in my head, and I'm like, dude, they're made in Georgia. Like, Chris did a factory tour years ago that you can go watch them going through their whole build process. And but anyways, just silly. Anyways, that's the factory tour. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now you know a little bit more, hopefully, about what goes into making a CMG guitar or a Devilcat amplifier. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have not subscribed to RNA Music, please go down, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll get notified of all our new videos. We've got even more videos of our Georgia trip coming up. There's some vlog stuff, there's some build stuff, there's some more videos coming from that Georgia trip, so stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, keep the music alive. Music needs you. We need the music. We need to keep it alive for the next generation of musicians and current generations of musicians. All right, thank you guys so much. We'll see you later.